On Tuesday, House Democrats unveiled legislation to improve healthcare in this country. So I know what you might be thinking. This must be Medicare for all because the way the country is moving, many people are supporting that type of legislation, Medicare for all. There's a new caucus in the House, the Medicare for All caucus, that was started last summer in 2018. It has over 70 members. We have multiple Democratic presidential candidates that are supporting the idea of Medicare for all. So that would be, I mean, I guess if the Democrats are trying to do something to advance healthcare in this country, it would have to be Medicare for all. That is not what happened on Tuesday. So the legislation that they put forth is all about strengthening the ACA by protecting people with pre-existing conditions, and it's about lowering costs as well. So this is from CNN. Tuesday's House bill calls for increasing subsidies and allowing more middle-class Americans to qualify. It would also provide additional funding for states to implement publicly backed reinsurance programs, which reduce premiums by shielding insurance companies from high-cost enrollees. This is from Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi. And she said, I believe this was in a statement, she said, as we mark the 9th anniversary of the Affordable Care Act, we reaffirm our commitment to this fundamental truth, that healthcare must be a right, not a privilege, for all Americans. It's a nice statement. It's a nice statement.
I saw the word middle class in there. Mm-hmm. That's great, though.
That is.
That's great. That's great that
you like that.
That's great that they're worried about the middle.
Right.
It makes it seem very reasonable.
Uh-huh.
What about poor people, though?
Yeah, what about poor
They
people?
Specifically mentioned the middle class.
They
but
did.
That can mean anything, because the middle class to them and people like Pelosi, from what I understand and have heard them say, it's like people who make $250,000 a year, $200,000 a year, $400,000 a year.
That doesn't feel like middle class to me.
That's middle class to them.
It doesn't feel like middle class to me, though. Like, that's not middle class to me.
Because it ain't.
You know how you can tell when somebody's full of shit? You know how you can tell? Especially if you're talking about legislation and you're talking about Congress members. Mm-hmm. You're talking about the Democratic Party. You know when you can tell when they're full of shit? When they have a supermajority, right? We just talked about this earlier in this program. Right. So when they had a supermajority, when they had a Democratic House, a Democratic Senate, and they had Obama in the Oval Office, we wondered why they didn't do things like the public option when it concerns healthcare. We wonder why they didn't do anything about gun control in this country. But then when they lost one of those chambers, they engaged in the sit-in. Right? And they're like, oh, yeah, we're not leaving until we do something on, on gun control. It's like, okay, you're doing this all for theater.
It does make them look like they're kind of being extra, pouting like babies.
Right. Now, on this front, the Democrats have control of the House.
Correct.
They do not have control of the Senate. So we know that whatever they're trying to get done here with the ACA, it's likely not going to get passed by the Senate. Okay? So if you want to grandstand, why not grandstand big? Why not grandstand big? Why not advocate for people in this country and go in the direction that it seems most people are going in terms of healthcare?
Maybe I'll give you a kind of a counterpoint. I guess the Democrats' effort to keep the Affordable Care Act alive is kind of connected to the Democrats trying to scrap it. It gives them the excuse to protect the ACA. As long as Republicans are constantly trying to scrap it, it gives Democrats an excuse to protect it and make it look like they're trying to help people. And I don't think that this announcement is separate from the previous story we covered. With the Department of Justice declaring that the ACA is unconstitutional. Right. I think these two things are not separated. Right. And so, again, I think the Democrats are trying to make themselves look like the good guys here, and they kind of do. Now, to us, we can see through that. But the most people, they're like, oh, damn, the Democrats, they're just trying to protect the ACA. Thank God for them.
But see, you can do more than one thing at a time, especially when you are in the United States Congress. There's multiple areas where you have to focus your attention. So if you want to defend the ACA, which again, we have problems with the ACA. It didn't go far enough. It didn't cover everybody. And that's what we're trying to get done in this country, 100% coverage, right? So it didn't do what it was intended to do. So we want more. We don't think that it should be dismantled because it is working for many, many people, and many people, millions of people got coverage. Many people with pre-existing conditions got coverage. So while we're on this road to a better future, while we're on this road to something like Medicare for all, we need to keep the ACA in place so that the people that have coverage because of it will remain covered.
Yeah, because what are they gonna do in between that gap? What are they gonna do in between that gap?
So it's a good position. It's a good position from the Democratic Party to fight for the ACA and to defend it from Republican attempts to dismantle it. But when that's all you're doing, when that's all you can do, and you can't fight for something like Medicare for all, you seem phony.